This is worksheet 2.6, or the right side of your 2.6 interactive notebook. I'm starting with, so it looks like this. I'm starting down on number 7. I'll make a second one to start this one out. So number 7, we're trying to get this into slope-intercept form so we can graph this line or inequality easily. So I'd multiply by 3 on each side first to undo multiplying by 1/3. So we get y is greater than or equal to -6. Now imagine this is the line y equals -6. So if I'm graphing the line y equals -6, it means that y is always -6 no matter what x is. No matter how left and right I go, because x tells you how far left or right to move. So really, no matter what, the height is at -6. So I'm going to start graphing that line. But then you do want to think, is it going to be solid or dashed? And it's going to be a solid line because there's an equal sign underneath the original inequality. So a solid line, horizontal line at y equals -6. There we go. So then we need to do a test point, or we need to know which side to shade, because we don't want just where the y's equal -6. We want to know where the y's are greater than or equal to -6. So you could do a test point at 0, 0. So there's no place to shove a 0 in for x, but there is a place to shove in a 0 for y. So there we go. So when we plug in 0 for y, we get 0 is greater than or equal to -6. So we ask ourselves if that is true or not. 0 is greater than -6. That is true. So that means you shade towards your test point. Now 0, 0 is right here. From the line, I shade towards the test point. All of these, all of the points on this side of the line have a y that is greater than -6. Number 8, most people like to get this in slope-intercept form, so I'm going to solve for y to get it into slope-intercept form. So I subtract 2x. Now I have -4y is greater than -2x plus 8. I put the x first because that's more like slope-intercept form. Notice the x, the 2x, is negative. So I put a negative in front of it, and the 8 is absolutely positive. So I put a positive or a plus in front of that. Please do not forget to bring down the negative in front of the 4. If it helps, chop slash that so you remember that that 4 is negative. You need a negative there, and we need to undo multiplying by -4, so we have to divide by -4. Everything gets divided by -4. Another thing to remember here, folks, is that in inequality equations, or with inequalities, when you solve or undo things, or do things to one side and the other side, when you multiply or divide by a negative, you have to switch the direction of the inequality. So now instead of the Pac-Man or alligator eating the y, it's going to eat the other way. So it's going to be y is less than, and then simplify. -2 over -4 is a positive 1 over 2. If you divide the top and the bottom by 2, excuse me, -2. Bring the x along, and then you get a -2. Fine, come on, it's fine. So there is our new inequality. Again, we switched the Pac-Man, and now I'm going to imagine that's just a plain old equation. So I'm going to think about graphing a line with a y-intercept of -2 and a slope of 1/2. So y-intercept of -2, slope of 1/2, up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2. And then reverse the slope, go down 1, left 2. Now as you connect these dots, it'd be awesome if you could dash it, because we should be dashing this. There's no equal sign underneath the inequality, so I'm dashing, not a solid line. Points that are on the line do not make this inequality true. They're not solutions. So that's why we're dashing to say that's where the line is, but it's not actually part of the answer. Then, so we dashed it. Number 2, we need to do a test point. And 0, 0 does not lie on this dashed line, so I can test it. So plug in 0 for x and y. Now, I personally think it's a lot easier to go back actually to the standard form equation and plug in 0 for x and 0 for y there, because I'm going to write it out one time, but in the future you'll see, man, I don't even need to write anything down basically. Because when you simplify the left side here and do the original inequality, so the Pac-Man's eating to the left, 2 times 0 minus 4 times 0 is just 0. So you get 0 is greater than 8. Is that true? No, that's false. So I was testing this point right here, and it's not a solution, nor is anything on its side of the line. So that means that my solutions, the points that make this inequality true, are down there. Number 9. Go ahead and solve that thing for y. Which means you're going to subtract 6x from each side. So we get 4y is less than, put the x first, it's a negative 6x, and it's a positive 8. Now divide by 4. Now we are not dividing by a negative, so we do not flip the inequality direction. So we get, I guess I'll write it down here, we get y is less than negative 3/2. Divide the top and the bottom by 2. X plus 2. So y-intercept at 2. Down 3, right 2. Down 3, right 2. Rinse and repeat. And then switch directions, go up 3 and left 2. When I say switch, I just mean instead of falling 3, I'm going up 3. Instead of going right 2, I'm going left 2. That gets me this blue dot right there. See how it's in line with the other ones? Beautiful. So now is this dashed or solid? Take a look at the inequality symbols. Because there's no equal sign underneath it, it's dashed. So do your best job to dash as you make a line through the points. And now we need to know which side of the line to shade. So let's test point it at 0, 0. 0, 0 is not, it's close to the line, but it's not on it. So it's perfectly fine to use. Let's use the original inequality. So again, if we do 6 times 0 plus 4 times 0, is it less than 8? Really we get is, the question, is 0 less than 8? That is true. True means shade towards it. So this point makes it true, so it is a solution, and so is everything on its side, on that side of the line as the test point. Boom. Number 10 is already in slope-intercept form. Thank you. Y-intercept is 6. Slope is negative 3 over 1, so you drop 3 and go right 1. Down 3, right 1, down 3, right 1. And it would be a solid line. Whoa, good thing I can see the dots, so I know where the line's supposed to be. Number 2, let's figure out which side of that line to shade. So we're going to test point, we can do 0, 0 again. So we get 0 is greater than or equal to negative 3 times 0 plus 6. Again, negative 3 times 0 is nothing, it's 0. So nothing or 0 plus 6 is 6. Is Pac-Man eating the correct way? No, it's supposed to be eating the bigger thing, and it's not. So this is false. And that point that we just checked is not a solution. Since it's false, and this point's not a solution, that means everything on the other side of the line is a solution. So there's my shading. Number 11 is not in slope-intercept form, so we could subtract x from each side. So we get, careful here, what do you bring down? A negative 3y. That 3 is negative. Chop slash it if you don't like it. Yeah, it's a negative 3, folks. Negative 3y is less than, I'm going to rearrange this. The x is negative, so I'm going to put a negative in front of it. The 9 is positive, so I'm going to write plus 9. Now, solve for y. Divide by a negative 3. Wait, didn't we say something about dividing by negatives? What did we talk about with that? Oh yeah, if we divide by a negative, we need to flip the direction of the inequality. So we get y, and now the inequality, or Pac-Man, is going to actually face the y. It turns around. A negative divided by a negative is a positive. So we just get positive x over 3, and then we get negative 3, because 9 divided by negative 3 is a negative 3. You can slip a 1 in front of the x, so your y-intercept is negative 3. Slipping a 1 in front of your x, your slope is 1/3. So you're going up 1 and right 3. Up 1, right 3, up 1, right 3, etc., etc. It will be a dashed line because there's not an equal sign underneath the Pac-Man. And now let's test a point. If you plug in 0 for x and y, you get nothing on the left. So you get 0 is less than 9. Is that true? Yes, that's true. So you shade towards. True means towards. This point's a solution. Shade everything towards that line. Everything else is a solution on that side as well. Last but not least, undo the x first, add 4x. So we get 2y is less than or equal to 4x plus 8. Now divide by 2. The final equation is y is less than or equal to 2x plus 4. So we're going to do a solid line. We make a y-intercept at 4, and we go up 2, right 1, and then down 2, left 1. Puts them all in a line. Good. Zing, a solid line. That was a little bit not close enough for my liking. There we are. So now, test a point. I'm going to plug in 0 for y and 0 for x because I'm going to test this point right here. So 0 for y, 0 for x. You end up getting 0 is less than or equal to 4. Again, that is true, just like the last one. So this point's a solution. And guess what? So is everything on its side of the line. So shade towards, true, towards the point. There you go.